Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping in today. I'm back with a new layout for Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2020 March kits for this. And I was very inspired by the colors in this paper. This is from the Heidi Swapp Storyline Chapters collection, and we get quite a bit of it in the kits this month. I just love those warm colors, the yellows, that pinky coral color, the deep burnt orangey color. So I just went through and picked out all the papers that had those colors in there, and I thought that I would start by cutting up this cut apart sheet and go from there. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to use my paper trimmer here, just quicker, and I get more accurate lines here. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet, but I wanted to use lots of parts from this paper, so that's where I'm going to start. And I just want to say I hope you guys are all hanging in there and doing okay during the quarantine situation. I know everybody's stressed out. Things are getting crazier by the day. Scrapbooking is definitely one of those things that helps keep me sane during all of this. So hopefully we can continue to create and share and just continue to be positive and support each other and just try to remain as calm as possible during all of this craziness. That's all we can do. So also in other news, it appears that my personal YouTube channel has been restored. Great news. However, there's still some bugs in the mix. Everything on my end is still in a foreign language. I can't read anything, and everything is still flagged red, so I can't upload anything yet, but hopefully that will be worked out soon. Anyway, here are the pictures that I've got to scrap today, some color selfies of me and my youngest daughter, and I'm just kind of playing around with everything. I didn't know if I wanted to create a bunch of layers, how I wanted to arrange the photos. I do know that I want to use Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy as my title. I love that from that cut apart sheet. So I'm going to make that my title. And I thought that I would kind of separate the photos into top half and bottom half of the page and then put the title in the middle in between them. So that's the idea that kind of jumped out at me as I started playing around with all those pieces. I am going to use this pattern paper as my background. I believe this is also a Heidi Swapp paper, and it's kind of a soft pink with some stripes on it. And I'm going to do a lot of mixed media on it, and so I'm going to use white gesso because it's going to help fade out some of the lines. You can kind of see there the effect that the white gesso has. Now I want to go and use these Nuvo pastes. Of course, I'm going to use them in a different way. You know me. I'm going to take anything and add water to it and make it into watercolor. I'm going to attempt that with everything. So that's what I'm going to try to do with the Nuvo paste. And we get both of these colors in the color kit this month. And so I thought, instead of scraping them through a stencil or something of that nature, that I would use a little bit of both, mix them together, add some water, and water it down. And lo and behold, you can certainly do that and use it as watercolor. So this whole background, let me just tell you, is an experiment. So some of it's good, some of it's but I think it turns out okay in the end. You can see here I'm using the packaging technique, and this is definitely different than your average watercolor because this is a paste slash mousse, so it's thicker. And so when you water it down, it does get, you know, into a liquid state, but it's still thick. And so you can kind of see it does work with the packaging technique. And I do love the color, that orangey color that you get when you mix the pink and the yellow. So I started there, and I'm just adding some water to my brush and then kind of helping it spread and blend. It did work really well with the water, so you are able to water it down and use it that way. So I'm going to kind of mix several things here. This is one of the Lindy's powders that I am obsessed with. I love this color. It's called Cocklebell's Coral. I think I've used it the last several layouts. I cannot remember which month we got this, but it did come in a past color kit, and it is the most beautiful, shimmery, coppery, corally pink color. That's a terrible description, but it's so, so pretty. I'm going to continue to kind of blend the yellow, the pink, and this Lindy's powder together, and I'm just trying to pull in some of those warm tones from all the pieces that I cut from the paper. Now, there are a lot of yellow pieces in the paper, so I wanted more pink and corally orange in the background. So I'm going to kind of use those mostly. I'm going to just keep working on it here. A lot of this video is me trying to get this background to not look like a hot mess, because as you can see, it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And a lot of this is going to get covered up. I know I say that. I sound like a broken record in all of my videos, but I'm not sure yet, you know, how much I'm going to add. So I want to make sure that I've got plenty of mixed media on the background. So that's why I kind of pause from time to time. I'll bring the photos back, put it back on top, see how it looks, see if I have enough mixed media. Sometimes I feel like I've done too much, and then I'll bring everything back on top and I've covered it all up, and so I'll have to add more. So you never know. You just kind of have to go for it and wing it, and then kind of test it out and see if you can still see it. So I'm kind of basically creating like a big oval shape on the background. I want some of this background to show above the photo that's going to go at the top, and then some to show below the photo on the bottom, and then some in the middle. So I kept working on it. I let that dry. Look how shimmery and shiny this is. That's the Nuvo paste. It is very, very shiny, and this is very pretty. I love how it looks, but I'm going to just take it a step further and continue to work on it. So I thought that I did want to kind of use the paste as a paste and just kind of scrape it onto the background, but I didn't want the pink as is. So I'm going to darken it up a little bit and mix in some of that Cocklebell's coral, and then basically just change the color of the paste. And it just makes it more of a darker pink color. So that's all I'm doing here, is blending it together, and that worked out really, really well. So if you have any of those Lindy's powders, you can add some to this paste and change the color. And here's where I just sort of almost thought, what did you just do? I just started scraping and scraping and scraping, and I almost scraped too much. You know how you just get going in the background, and then all of a sudden you're like, what am I doing? That's kind of where I was at this point, but I continued to work at it. I don't like to throw backgrounds away. I try to keep going, bring in some water here and continue to kind of water it down, thin it out a little bit, and continue to just kind of salvage this because it's turning into a hot mess. Yeah. In the end, it works out, I think. I'm going to dab some of that up by rolling my paper towels on top of it, and then continue to go for it. It's very pretty. I love the color. You can still see some of the yellow. I didn't want to cover up all of the yellow. It's very shiny. I know it's hard to see, but that Nuvo paste is very shiny, so I apologize for the reflection. Here, I don't know what I was doing. I decided to kind of lighten it up, so I dripped in a couple of drops of white acrylic paint, and then I thought, why did I do that? Yeah, a lot of my backgrounds, it's a good thing that you can't hear me in real time when I'm making these backgrounds, because I'm telling myself, you idiot, what are you doing? Just leave it alone. Stop. But no, do I listen to myself? No, I keep going. What am I doing here? I'm going to continue. Now I'm going to come back in with more pink. This is the pink Lindy's that we got last month. This is the Plumeria pink. Yeah, this is what happens when you just go crazy with the background here. Yeah, we're going to keep going. I'm almost done with the background, I promise. I know this is agony having to watch this. Let's add in some yellow. Okay, this is a spray called Grab a Guy Gold. I've used that several times. That's a Lindy's spray that we got in a past kit. Yeah, I don't think this poor pattern paper can take much more. When will I learn? You think I would know when to stop, but yeah, I was on a roll. I was on a roll. Believe it or not, the paper never ripped. I was able to have a nice, decent background, which you'll see here in just a second, once I finally finish it. 10 hours later, yay, finally, I let it dry overnight. Now, I think it looks pretty. I did wind up adding a bunch of stuff, But in the end, I like how it looks, and we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it, and we're going to move on. 10 minutes into this video, and the background is finally done. If you're still with me, thank you. And then again, yep, there goes my ATG gun. It jammed yet again. Perfect. That's okay. I fix it later off camera. So now we're going to get into the actual layout, now that this massive background is finally dry. So I'm going to start to layer some of those pieces that I cut from the Heidi Swapp paper behind the photos. I did add some tissue paper. I like to do that just to give another little messy, subtle border around the pictures. And then I'm just going to start to layer. Like I said, there's a lot of yellow that I cut from the paper. So I didn't want a lot of yellow in the background, which in the end, you can't even really see much yellow in the background. And that's okay, because I'm going to bring in plenty of yellow. So there's the title piece that I'm going to work with. I'm going to cut it up, and I'm only going to use the easy peasy part because I want to use some of the other alphas for the lemon squeezy. I do want to use these little citrus pieces. If you have looked at the stickers and the embellishments from this Heidi Swapp line, there's a ton of lemons and oranges. And I just thought that that orange, that deep orange color was a nice addition to the yellow and the pink / coral tones. So yeah, I did some fussy cutting there on that little floral wreath circle. So I cut it in half. I'm going to use half of it up top, half of it down below. And then I'm going to use these thickers, which are amazing. I love how big they are. I love that they're black and white. And that word is going to be squeezy. And then I'm going to use these little, they're almost like vellum stickers to create the word lemon. Now, a lot of these stickers on this sheet are kind of see-through. So I want to make I don't want you to be able to see the background through them because it will change the color of them. And I want them to be the exact orange and the exact yellow that they are. So I'm going to stick them to some white cardstock and then cut them out. And then that way I can move them around. I also did the same thing with the word lemon. I just stuck those stickers onto some cardstock and cut it out. So now you can kind of see what I was talking about with the title. Nothing's glued down, but I kind of wanted the title in the middle, and then I wanted all the citrus around it because I just thought they were adorable. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to use some of the deeper pink florals, and some green is going to work its way onto the page because I'm going to use some leaf stems. And obviously those are green. And there's actually some green stems on the lemons and the oranges too. So I thought I would add a little bit more green. This is a little sticker sheet from Jen Hadfield. It's adorable. I don't wind up using anything from it on this particular page, but it's so cute. I did fix my ATG gun. It's finally behaving at this point. So I'm going to start to glue things together. I'm going to make sure all the layers are glued down, and I am going to add some adhesive foam behind those just to raise them up off the page. And go from there. And you can kind of see what I was talking about earlier, how I felt like I was doing way too much on the background, but now that I brought the photos back and the title and all of the citrus, you can see that the only part you can really see is the outer edges, and I love that effect. That's why I like to make sure that I have enough of the background done so you can see it around the edges once everything is back on the page. So I am going to come in with some tangled thread in some of the matching colors. Right here I'm using some of the pink, and I thought about using yellow, but I felt like I had enough yellow with the title and the lemons. So I'm just going to sort of make a pink cluster with the thread there on the either side of both of the photos there. And also pulled out some orange thread, but I don't wind up using that. Now I'm ready to start gluing down, so I'm going to very carefully just lift things up, add some glue. I don't want to move anything. I did add some floral stickers onto the actual background there on both sides of the, well, on one side of the top photo, one side of the bottom photo. But everything else is going to be raised up off the page a little bit. I love dimension, and so anytime I can raise something up off the background to create a little bit of depth, I am definitely going to do it. So I let everything dry and I decided to add some stitching. I stitched straight through the squeezy, and then I created a little stitchy line for the citrus to sit on. I kind of felt like they were floating, and so I made a little line there so it looks like they have a little table to sit on. That may sound crazy, but I like for things to be able to look like they are there on purpose and not just randomly floating around. Here's where I added a little bit of floral elements. These are, the first one was a little die cut, and then this is a little sticker, and I just trimmed a bit of the white border off. And then I'm going to come in with these little sticker sheets. I really love this Just You and Me. I'm going to put the Just You up top and the and me down at the bottom. So many cute things. I really struggled with what to use and what to save for another page because, oh man, this collection's fantastic. And I hadn't even seen it until we got it in these kits. I was like, what is this collection? Haven't even seen it yet. So I was pleasantly surprised to get so much of it because it's awesome. Whole little sheet here of shiny metallic gold leaf stems. Gotta love that. They're perfect for adding and tucking in just like I'm doing there. And then 2 sheets of phrases and little definitions, words with definitions. They're perfect. I'm going to add a couple of those in. I believe that one says, love you, girl. And then I'm going to add another one that says, I can't remember. I'll have to tell you later when I see a close-up. But I'm going to add that one to the top, add the other one to the bottom. Going to kind of tuck it in there so it's not covering much up. And then that little sun looked really cute right there, so it's going to go. It's a little die cut. And then I'm going to add my journaling. I'm almost done here. There are lines on this background. They're just very spaced apart, and I wanted my journaling to be a little bit more close together, so I did draw lines and use my Sharpie there. I'm going to add one little stamp. We get this Heidi Swapp stamp set, and this one's just for the date, so it's nothing too crazy. I thought that I would take advantage of having a date stamp, and I'll add that in later. And then here is where I continue to work on the background. I'm just going to add splatters this time, nothing crazy. However, I do drop a big splotch of yellow right onto the corner of my picture. And I tried to wipe it up, and it was too late. So, yeah, mistakes. Oh, well, you live and you learn. At least it didn't go on my face. It's on the corner. I'm going to mix some of the Cocklebell Coral with a pink Lindy spray. And that color, pink, is Hibiscus Rose. I was trying to create that deep pink color again. And I didn't use the Nuvo paste for splatters because it's so thick, it wouldn't splatter as easily as the liquid. So that's what I did there. But anyway, I did write the date in, and finally, it's done. That's the final layout. I love how this turned out. I love that it's pretty much a simple design. It's just basically the 2 pictures with the title in the middle and some small things around that. But I love how it turned out. Even though the background took me forever, I still love it. I think it's the perfect color to enhance all the colors in the collection. I was definitely inspired by that piece that said easy peasy lemon squeezy. I just recreated the title in my own way. So I hope this inspires you to just really look at the products, look at the papers, get inspired by what you see, come up with a fun color scheme, and just don't be afraid to mix and match all of the color kit things. You know, all of the products that we get this month, mix and match them with last month. You never know what you're going to come up with until you just experiment and try it out. But I hope you guys like this. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in my next video. I hope you have a great week.